Hey everybody, it's Chris Eads, and on the line is Wootini, here with another Gay Gamer video podcast episode for you. This week, I went to see Send Help, the new Sam Raimi movie, where Rachel McAdams and Dylan O'Brien get stranded on a deserted island together, and he's like her dick boss, and she's like this mousy, like, from strategy and planning, not accounting. She makes a point. It's a running joke in the movie. And he's a dick, and she's put upon, but she's also like a big fan of Survivor and nature and going outdoors and the outdoors and everything. So like she takes over on the island and knows how to do everything, and he's trying to boss her around, and she's like, that's not how it works here anymore. Sorry. And she wants to stay there, and he wants to get off because he wants to go back to his cushy life. And she's like, this is awesome. And shenanigans ensue. It's really funny. It's also really gross. It's Sam Raimi, so it's everything. I will say that I would have dropped about 10 to 15 minutes maybe. It's pushing 2 hours, and I feel like it could have just lost a little. I wish the pace was a little tighter, you know? Like, there's some lulls in between these amazing, gory, crazy, wild set pieces. But it's really very funny. And there's also a wonderful full-length butt shot of Dylan O'Brien in the ocean taking a bath. So that's fun. That's nice to see. I would also recommend that if you have any interest in seeing this movie, that you see it with an audience, because having everyone around you laughing and hooting and clapping at all of the insanity is a lot of fun. Also, I saw it in 3D. I don't know why they put it in 3D, but it was clearly he wanted to do it in 3D because there's a bunch of stuff with, like, you know, weapons and like bodily fluids coming at the camera that are a lot of fun. And it added to the whole experience. So if you really want to see this with proper experience, audience, and if you want to elevate it even slightly more, 3D. But it was a lot of fun. It was a little long, but a lot of fun. And it's also fun because you don't know who to root for. Because sometimes he's a dick, and sometimes she's kind of psychotic, and you're just like, you feel bad for him, but then he's a dick again, and you're like, no, you should both stay there forever. And then I also want to talk about Nintendo had a direct for Tomodachi Life, Living the Dream, which is the new Tomodachi Life game coming out soon for the Switch. And right away in the direct, right off the bat, they were like, look, we have inclusivity this time. You can be male, female, or non-binary, and you can select whether they will be attracted to male, female, or non-binary. So there you are. That was missing from the first one. But inclusivity aside, this is not a game I'm going to probably ever play. Firstly, because it's one of those like ongoing, like, check-in every day or two or whatever. And I'm just like, while it's not, I don't think it's necessarily one of those like you have to check in every day. It's still like an ongoing, never-ending sim game. And I'm just like, I am already playing 3 games that I have to check in every day, and that's more than enough. I can't do 4. Also, I did play Tomodachi Life on the 3DS, and it was amusing. I don't really remember much about it. I just remember like having a good chuckle because my friends would get involved in these random, bizarre situations, and it was very funny and weird because it's like The Sims on crack. Like, the most bizarre things would happen. And it was funny. But the thing is that on the 3DS, everyone had their Miis. Like, you would create a Mii for yourself, and that was your, like, representation. So, like, when you would have a friends list, you would have all their Miis. And you could import your friends' Miis to live in the game with you, and insanity would occur. This one, there's no Miis anymore. So it's like, you have to create them from scratch. And they didn't say anything in the game, in the direct, about whether, like, if you have friends who are playing the game who have created Miis, can you easily import them? I don't know. That would be helpful. But also, I feel like I don't know how many of my friends would actually play this game. So I don't want to have to sit around and create Miis for everybody, because that's tedious. I would end up with an island with like 3 people on it, because I would just get frustrated and annoyed, and I'd be like, I'm not making any more people, fuck it. And then that's hardly any fun. Also, it's not a game that I feel like I'm going to pay $60 for. Do you know what I mean? Like, $60 is a lot. I feel like this is something I would pay like $20. I'm not going to get $60 worth of enjoyment out of this. 20 maybe. But the problem is it's Nintendo, so it's not going to go on sale for less than 50. You know, they only ever knock off like 10, $15 at best. It's not like PlayStation or Xbox where you can get it for like half off or even more at some point. So I don't think I'm going to play this. Also, while browsing through YouTube, that made the algorithm give me more game trailers and such, and I saw something for a game called Crimson Desert, which looked very pretty. So I pushed play to see what this was. I'd never heard of it. And the graphics are just lovely. It's a beautiful world, and this hunky Viking type person is like moving through it, and it's like this big open world game full of gorgeous locations, and they showed off like, you know, the forests and the desert and the cities and the whatever. And they're talking about the gameplay. It was like a 15-20 minute video about the gameplay, and I'm like, it sounds like exactly the kind of like open world RPG, action RPG that I would totally play. I would totally enjoy exploring this world. It's beautiful. So, but I've never heard of this game or the developer, so it could be good or it could be crap. It sounds like they're really reaching for the stars, so that could be a problem. It's like I said last episode about the new Fable game. They're trying to do this thing. They're like really ambitious, and that could be a difficult. You might not reach those heights. But Crimson Desert is something where I would be like, I don't know. I would wait for reviews, and then even after I wait for reviews, like it comes out like this spring. I'm like, even after the reviews, if the reviews are good and it turns out that the game is good, it's again, I have other games that I want to play first, so I'm not going to play this right now, but maybe later it'll turn up at like, you know, it'll be like $20 in the PlayStation Store, and I would totally buy it for $20, you know, or better yet, free with PlayStation Plus. That would be delightful. But it's on my radar now, so good for them with YouTube. Good placement on YouTube. As for the games that I've been playing, the usual stuff, I did finish the Disney Dreamlight Valley Star Path, and I got the Main Street Emporium, which was the big final reward. And I didn't realize that it was an actual house, like it's a house skin. So, but it's humongous. So I'm like, I'm not doing that for my house. I'm not living in the Main Street Emporium. It's absurd and ridiculous. So I just stuck it on a floating island, and I'll just leave it there. I don't care. Then Nikki dropped their new update, version 2.2, Chroma Beings something, I don't know. It's insane. It's Nikki. It's basically, you go to this new, like, it's like a Chinese village, although I looked at the map and there's a lot beyond that village. It's a very big space. But, you know, it's a Chinese village, and there's like these people called chroma faces who are like people but with like colored paint on their face, and there's a mysterious being called Chroma who gives them these like identity tokens so that they have to like be specific types of people. So like, you know, there's like, I was just doing this quest where this woman's trying to put together a hot pot banquet, and she's got, you know, I want to invite this friend of mine, except that now his new job, he only, like, his new personality token says that he loves dumplings, and he took that to mean that he can't eat anything else. He can only eat dumplings. So he doesn't want to go to a hot pot banquet, and you have to try to convince him to go to the hot pot banquet because it's like a dumpling and it's whatever. It was weird and stupid, but whatever. It was funny. But like, it's weird. Like, everyone has to like, it's like they're all acting out these parts, and it's like the strangest story, but it's Nikki, so it's expected. This game is just weird all the time. But there's all kinds of new things to discover. There's a new ability outfit, obviously. This creepy outfit that lets you like turn glowing boxes and items and chests and things, and it turns them into like what they really are, like these ghostly S-lings, so that you can you can't defeat them, but you can then get past them. Like, these things are blocking whatever you're trying to get to, and then you can leave and they'll turn back into the glowy box. It's not that interesting, really. And then there's also, like, new stuff to find, and, like, I just, last night, getting the ingredients for the hot pot, the guy was like, you don't shop in my store, I lay them out in the street, and you go collect as much as you can. And it led to this whole, like, mild platforming thing where you ran around as Momo collecting what looked like dumplings, but you're collecting ingredients so that you can then have your hot pot banquet. I don't know. I feel like there's something where, like, you actually do cooking now in this, because there's cooking, but I can't figure out how to make it work at my house, so I give up. But there's clearly going to be cooking. I think I'm going to be making this hot pot banquet, but I haven't gotten there yet. But yeah, whole new update to explore, very large area to explore. We'll see. I've only just started. Then with Star Wars, it's funny because if you might recall, when I first started playing Star Wars Outlaws, I was unimpressed. I thought the plot was not engaging, the characters weren't that interesting, I wasn't into it. I was just playing it because it was fun to explore and whatever. Although not always, because the speeder sucks. But as the game has gone on, I've gotten better at it, and I've also gotten into the story, and the later stuff is so much better because it's more character-based. Like last episode, I was talking about how there was the whole quest line where you go rescue Nix, your little pal. And that was great. And that led into a story where you had to rescue ND5 because he's falling apart, and you had to go and find this and explore this old Clone War droid factory to get a part to fix ND5. This, of course, leads you into the Rebels, and again, Kay is like, I don't want to be a rebel, leave me alone, I don't want to be part of your fight. But she reluctantly is forced to help out the Rebels. But this, it's just like the whole back end of this game has become so much more interesting. And then that, once you finish that quest, that led to another reveal and a storyline twist. And I was like, oh, didn't see that coming. Some of them I can see coming a mile away. But the couple of times I've been like, oh, I didn't expect that. And it's all very like story-based. And now all of a sudden it's very character-based at the end. And I'm like, this is good. Like, maybe I should have done Tatooine first, but oh well, too late now. The problem is that I don't want to do the next main quest because, like, I feel like I'm almost at the end of the game, and there's other things I wanted to do first. Because during the ND5 quest, Giddy gave me his fusion cutter, which I was like, thank you, because on all these planets I keep finding these things, and they're like, no, you can't get in here, you have to have a fusion cutter to get by this barrier. And I'm like, well, I don't have that. And you can't get it early, because it only comes in this late game mission. So now I'm like, oh, now I can go back and explore those places. Except I only remembered where one of them was, so that's not helpful. Then I also wanted to get this part for my blaster because I wanted to upgrade the damage, and so I knew where it was located on a planet, so I went to find it, and I thought, okay, I'll just do this real quick before bed. No, it was not quick. It turned out to be this whole cave system with like platforming and climbing and swinging, and it was a mess. But I eventually wound my way through the whole thing, got the piece, and came out, and then I was able to. Next time I was on my ship, I was like, upgrade, and now I have full damage on my blaster, which is helpful. And then the other thing that I had decided that I wanted to do was there was a side quest where you could get a turret for your ship. And I was like, okay, let's try that. Not that there's been much space combat, in case there is space combat in the end game, which I'm afraid there might be. I was like, let me get this turret just so I can upgrade my ship a little more. I go to do this, the Jawa is like, oh, get me a tooth from that Sarlacc. And I'm like, ugh. Thankfully, the Sarlacc is already dead, and there's like bandits trying to like loot it. So you take out the bandits, you go into the Sarlacc, and you're exploring the inside of the Sarlacc, which starts out kind of gross, but then later it just becomes like a cave. So it was like, what? How is the inside of a Sarlacc just a cave? Am I in a cave now? but it's kind of juicy, so I don't understand what the inside... I do not understand the biology of a Sarlacc, clearly. But after you do that, it unlocks this Jawa as one of the experts, and I was like, oh, you know what? Let me go and follow up on that other expert to see if I can, like, get a trophy for, like, finding all of the experts. Unfortunately, it turns out that there was no trophy for finding the experts. I think you have to, like, I think you might have to unlock them completely. Not do everything for them, but, like, get to them. Like, don't just find them. You have to, like, activate them so that then you can get some abilities if you want. But the last one turned out to be Lando Calrissian, who's going to teach you sabacc tricks. But I have gone this entire game without having to play sabacc because I don't want to. These open world games always have these mini games inside them, and sometimes you can't escape them. Like, I remember in Horizon, like, I had to play one of those missions, like, required you to play a round of that board game. Then it becomes optional. But sometimes they force you to play it at least once. They've actually, so to my delight, they've not forced me to play sabacc at all in the main missions. So, yay for that. Except, I kind of want to unlock him. But then I'm also like, wait, maybe... let me check and see if there is a trophy for that before I waste my time, because I don't want to have to play sabacc, but the problem is that these experts, you don't upgrade in Star Wars Outlaws. You don't upgrade Kay. Like, she doesn't level up. You can get better equipment. You can upgrade your weapons and your speeder and the starship and whatever, but you don't, like, level up to get stronger. But when you meet an expert and do their first quest and unlock them, they'll give you abilities, you know, that I've been upgrading throughout the game. They each have their own little requirements. So, like, I recently just upgraded, I just unlocked the sharpshooter, whatever it's called, and she'll give you blaster upgrades. And this is, like, at the very end of the game. And I'm like, I could have used blaster upgrades earlier in the game, please, thank you. So that's sort of irritating. But it's just frustrating because it's like, you have to do certain things. It's like, you know, jump a certain distance on your speeder, or do like 15 headshots, or, you know, blow up 17 of this or whatever, you know. And they just sort of unlock naturally during gameplay. Occasionally you can, I mean, if you wanted to, you could specifically go and do those things, you know, pick locks on your first try, or, you know, knock out distracted enemies or whatever. Like, most of it, like, I've just been playing and they've been unlocking, and it's fine. And there aren't really any abilities that I'm like, I want that one, so I'm going to specifically try to get those things and do those things. But it's just like, I feel like it's not great design to suddenly introduce a new expert with all these new abilities that you can unlock, like, at the end of the game. Because now I feel like I need to, like, go and unlock them, but I don't think I will, because I am very close to the end of the game, and I am looking forward to wrapping this up so I can play Ghost of Yote, so we'll see how much longer it takes. Come back next time for an update. Bye!